Welcome to Slow Night Ancient Tales. Tonight we continue our journey into the mystical world of Joseon with the tale of Lady Park, Part 3. Close your eyes, let go of the day's worries, and let the ancient winds carry you to a quiet pavilion filled with hidden magic and profound transformation. Take a deep, slow breath, and let the story begin. The Tale of Lady Park, Part 3. Meanwhile, Sabayak, unable to disobey his father's command, went into the pavilion to share a bed with his wife. However, upon seeing her face and ugly appearance, his heart naturally grew uncomfortable. The pavilion built in the backyard was named Pihwadang, meaning the hall for avoiding misfortune. Every day, Lady Park planted trees with her maid Jade. Following the principles of the elements, they planted trees representing blue in the east with dark soil, red in the south with red soil, white in the west with white soil, black in the north with black soil, and yellow in the center with yellow soil. After planting these 5 colors of trees, she had Giewa water them at the precise times. The trees grew rapidly day by day, taking on a majestic and mystical appearance. Amidst countless magical elements and solemn majesty, the tree branches looked like coiled dragons and roaring tigers. When the birds and the wind interacted with them, they showed endless, boundless variations. Even spirits could not fathom these mystical occurrences, so how could ignorant humans possibly understand? At this time, the Lord called for Giewa and asked, "What has your lady been doing these days?" Giewa answered, "The lady planted various trees in the backyard, tending to every detail herself, and she asked me to fetch water for them." Hearing this, the Lord was greatly pleased. He took Giewa and went to the backyard to observe. The various trees were lush in all directions, emitting a solemn aura that was difficult to look at directly. The Lord was startled. He barely calmed his mind and looked closely. The trees seemed like dragons and tigers performing magic, and the branches were like countless coiled snakes showing endless variations. Startled, the Lord sighed and said, "This person is truly a divine being. Though a woman, she possesses the grand strategy of a hero. Her mystical talents are completely unfathomable." He then asked Lady Park, "For what purpose did you plant these trees, and why is this pavilion named Pihwadang? I do not know the reason." Lady Park respectfully replied, "Good and bad fortune, blessings and disasters are common in human life. If a severe event happens in the future, I will use these trees to defend against it. That is why I planted them all around." Amazed by her words, the Lord asked for the specific reason. Lady Park replied, "This is also the will of heaven, so how could I leak heaven's secrets? You will naturally come to know in the future." The Lord sighed, "You are truly too good to be my daughter-in-law. It is heartbreaking and infuriating that you have such a difficult fate. Your peerless character goes unrecognized by my son, and you waste your days without marital harmony." Lady Park replied, "My appearance and physical state are not like others, so we have no marital joy. This is all my fault, so whom can I resent? My only wish is for my husband to stay well, show utmost filial piety to his parents, achieve success and fame, serve the country with loyalty, take a wife from another family, have children and grandchildren, and live a long, boundless life. Then I would have no regrets, even if I died right now." Hearing these words, the Lord felt deeply sorry for her pitiful heart and shed tears. Seeing his reaction, Lady Park comforted him, saying, "Please take care of your precious health. Will there not be a time for harmony someday? Please do not worry too much. If you show your displeasure, my husband's faults will be exposed, and the village people will say he is unfilial. I fear my faults will bring a bad name to him." Hearing her, the Lord praised her broad-mindedness and utmost filial piety even more. Meanwhile, it had been 3 years since they started feeding the foal. The horse had grown into a fine steed, and its pace was like a flying tiger. Lady Park said to the Lord, "On the 23rd day of the 12th month at noon, an Envoy from the great nation will arrive. Take this horse and tie it by the road the envoy will take. Seeing the horse, the envoy will ask to buy it. Set a fixed price of 30,000 nang and sell it to him." The Lord praised her and waited for that day. Indeed, word came that the envoy was arriving. He ordered a servant to take the horse and tie it by the envoy's path. As the envoy passed, he saw the horse and asked, "Is this horse for sale, and how much is it?" The servant answered, "It is for sale. and the price is 30,000 yang. The envoy was greatly pleased. Not considering 30,000 yang too much, he readily agreed and bought it. The servant returned and reported this. The lord, acquiring 30,000 yang in an instant, saw his household wealth naturally become abundant. Rejoicing, he asked Lady Park, "I received the price for the horse, but I still do not understand this mystical affair." Lady Park respectfully replied, "That horse is a heavenly steed. Joseon is a small country, so not only is there no one to recognize it, but the land is too narrow to use it. The great nation has vast lands, so the horse can run 1,000 miles at once. Because the envoy knows fine horses, he did not spare 30,000 gold to buy it. In Joseon, who would know its price or recognize a fine steed?" Hearing her words, the lord admired her and said, "Though a woman, you sit and see 1,000 miles away. It is truly a pity. Had you been a man, you would have become a noble figure. It is lamentable that you are in a woman's body." Meanwhile, the country was peaceful and the harvests were plentiful. To select talented individuals, a great national examination was held. Hearing this, Sibek wanted to take the exam and enter the testing grounds. That night, Lady Park had a dream. In the backyard pond, flowers were in full bloom, and bees and butterflies fluttered about. A blue dragon playfully writhed in the middle, held a magic pearl in its mouth, scattered the colorful clouds, and ascended to the Jade Palace. Lady Park woke up, realizing it was a profound dream. Unable to sleep, tossing and turning, she thought of her pitiful life as a woman. Reflecting on the dream, she realized the water dropper in the pond was undoubtedly the magic pearl. As dawn broke, she looked at the white jade water dropper she saw in her dream, and there it was. She gladly picked it up and immediately ordered Gewa to deliver a message to Sibaek in the men's quarters. "Before you leave for the examination, please come inside for a moment." Gewa obeyed, went to the outer quarters, and delivered the message. Sibaek, with a stern face, said, "What could be so important to delay a man on his way to the state examination?" Embarrassed, Gewa returned and reported exactly what he said. Lady Park sent another message through Gewa. "If you come in briefly, I have something to give you. Please do not spare the effort to come just once." Sibaek grew furious and said, "A wicked woman is blocking a man's path. Where else is there such an insolent act?" Unable to sit still, he grabbed Gewa and beat her severely with a large stick over 10 times. Punished, Gewa went in crying and told Lady Park. Shedding tears and weeping sadly, Lady Park said, "Because of my sin, you have suffered a severe punishment. What could be more infuriating than this?" Sighing sadly, she gave the water dropper to Gewa and sent a message. "Put water in this water dropper and take it into the examination grounds. If you grind your ink with this water and write your essay to submit, you will place first in the state examination. When you achieve success and fame, bring glory to your parents. After honoring your family, forget about a person like me. Take a virtuous lady from another noble family and enjoy a happy life by yourself." After hearing everything, Sibaek received the water dropper and saw that it was an invaluable treasure of the world. Eid repented and blamed himself, saying, "Let us not speak of the past, let it go. If you wait with peace of mind, there will be a day I apologize." He then went straight into the examination grounds, ground the ink with the water from the water dropper, and wrote in a single stroke. His writing was flawless. He was the first to submit it and came out to wait for the results. Soon the list of passers was posted. Looking up, he saw Yi Sibaek of Hanseongbu in first place. A voice from high upon the pavilion called out his name, shaking the capital. Sibaek gave thanks for the king's grace and immediately entered the palace. After performing his bows, the king praised him endlessly and urged him to serve the country loyally. Sibaek bowed again in awe. When he returned home, he wore the royal flower on his head, a gold-embroidered robe and jade belt on his body, and sat prominently on a fine horse with a golden saddle. His graceful appearance was dazzling. Strolling down the main street in the spring breeze, who among the onlookers wouldn't love and praise him? Returning home in high spirits, Lady Park could not partake in the celebration and sat alone in the quiet pavilion. How could it not be pitiful? And if not for Lady Park's broad magnanimity, how could he have seen such an auspicious event? Gyewa, unable to bear watching Lady Park's situation, said to her, "For such a joyful event, all relatives above and below gather to celebrate. Yet, my lady, you sit alone in the pavilion spending your time in tears. How can my heart not be broken?" Lady Park calmly replied, "A person's fortune and misfortune, glory and disgrace, depend on heaven. Since this is also heaven's will, whom should I resent or blame?" Hearing this, Gyewa inwardly admired Lady Park's broad mind. Meanwhile, it had already been 3 years since Lady Park left her home. One day, she said to the Lord, "It has been 3 years since I married into this family, and there has been no news from my home. I wish to make a brief visit to my family." The Lord, startled, said, "From here to Mount Gumgang is hundreds of miles. The path is rugged, making it difficult even for a man to travel. How can a woman travel back and forth as she pleases?" Lady Park spoke again. "I know the journey is difficult, but I have something I must inevitably go and attend to. So please do not worry." The Lord said, "Since you say you must go, I cannot stop you. I will prepare your travel gear tomorrow, so go and return quickly." Lady Park replied, "Please do not worry about the travel gear. It will only take a few days round trip, so have no concerns." The Lord, already knowing Lady Park's talents, had no choice but to permit it. However, not knowing the exact reason, he was inwardly anxious, naturally making his eating and sleeping uneasy. Lady Park returned to the pavilion, called Gyewa, and said, "I am going to my family's home for a short while. Only you should know, do not speak of it." At midnight that day, she set off on her journey alone. Gyewa saw her off. Sure enough, she returned after just a few days. The Lord saw her and was both greatly surprised and pleased, saying, "Your mystical magic arts are unfathomable even to spirits. But did your father welcome you?" Lady Park replied, "He is well for now, and he said he would come on a certain month and day." The Lord was glad and waited for the master to arrive. One day, the promised day of the master's arrival came. As the Lord sat waiting alone, 5 colored clouds shone brightly within the house, and the clear sound of a jade flute was heard from beyond the clouds. Suddenly, a Taoist immortal, riding a white crane, descended amidst the colored clouds. Looking closely, it was Master Park. The Lord straightened his attire, went down to the yard to welcome him, and after respectfully taking their seats, they shared their long-held feelings, brought out wine and food, drank together, and rejoiced. The Lord apologized, Deed to the master, saying, "My joy at seeing an honored guest is beyond ordinary, but my apologetic feelings are immeasurable." The master said, "What do you mean? I am the one who should be apologizing." The Lord respectfully replied, "My son is unfilial. He failed to recognize the fateful bond and lacks marital harmony. Though I scold him every day, he ultimately disobeys his father's command. How can I not be uneasy?" The master expressed his gratitude. "By your boundless virtue, Lord, you did not despise my child for being ugly, but kept her under your care and loved her. I am endlessly grateful. As for a person's glory and disgrace, it is determined by heaven, not by human will, so why worry about that?" Hearing this, the Lord found it extraordinary. The Lord spent his days playing Go and blowing the jade flute with the master. One day the master went into Pihwadang and quietly said to Lady Park, "Your time of misfortune has come to an end, so shed your ugly skin." He taught her the magic of shedding her skin and transforming, then added, "When you shed your skin, do not throw away the ugly shell. Ask the Lord to have a jade box made, put it inside, and keep it safe." After conversing affectionately for a long time, he shook his sleeves, came out, and bid farewell to the Lord. Hearing this, the Lord was endlessly sad and tried to make him stay, but the master would not listen and prepared to leave. Reluctantly, the Lord offered a cup of wine for farewell. The master said to the Lord, "If we part now, it will be difficult to meet again, so please take utmost care of yourself." The Lord, hearing this, asked, "What do you mean by those words?" The master said, "I am also sad, but once I enter the mountains this time, my return will be distant, so it will truly be difficult to meet." With no other choice, the Lord sorrowfully bid him farewell. The master rode the crane, ascended into the sky, parted the colored clouds, and departed. As the clouds gathered, he disappeared. The Lord could not stop expressing his admiration. Meanwhile, that night, Lady Park bathed, purified herself, used her magic, and shed her skin. When dawn broke, she called Gyewa. Gyewa went in and saw an unprecedentedly peerless beauty sitting in the room. Looking closely, her beautiful face and graceful demeanor made Gyewa's mind dizzy, making it hard to look directly at her. Lady Park slightly parted her red lips and said to Gyewa, "I was previously Lady Park, and now I have shed my skin and transformed my body. Go quickly to the outer quarters. Do not make a fuss, and tell the Lord to get me a jade box." Gyewa obeyed the command and went to the outer quarters, her face full of joy. The Lord found it strange and quickly asked, "Is there some good news?" Gyewa answered, "There is something miraculous in Pihwadang, so please go quickly." The Lord hurried in, opened the door, and saw an unprecedented beauty sitting gracefully. Her elegant demeanor startled his mind, and the fragrance in the room assailed his senses. Calming his mind and looking closely, the previously ugly Lady Park now looked like a heavenly maiden. Seeing the Lord, she even showed a bashful expression. The Lord marveled in his heart at this strange and miraculous sight, standing speechless. Gyewa said, "The lady shed her skin last night and asked me to request you, my lord, to acquire a jade box." Hearing this, the Lord rejoiced and finally went closer, asking, "How did you become a peerless beauty today?" Lady Park bowed her head, slightly parted her red lips, and replied, "My misfortune has finally ended, so I have shed my ugly skin. If you get me a jade box, I wish to keep that skin inside." The Lord marveled at the miracle, immediately went out, called a jade craftsman, and ordered him to make a jade box within the hour. Then he immediately called Sebaek and said, "Go quickly and look at your wife's face." Sebaek heard this, turned away, frowned, and thought, "For what reason is he telling me to look at such an ugly person?" Unable to disobey his father's command, he went in, hesitating endlessly. Gyewa quickly came out to welcome him. Sebaek asked Gyewa, "What happened in Pihwadang that your face is full of joy?" Gyewa replied, "If you go into the room, you will naturally find out." Doubtful, Sebaek quickly opened the door and saw that the ugly Lady Park was nowhere to be found. A beautiful and elegant lady, like a flower and the moon, was sitting there. Her demeanor was as if a heavenly maiden had descended. She did not seem human. Feeling strangely awed, let alone speaking to her, he couldn't even enter the room. He stepped back out and asked Gyewa, "Where did that hideous person go, and why is a peerless beauty sitting there? What is the reason?" Gyewa answered, "The previous Lady Park became this beauty tonight." Only then did Sebaek deeply regret his lack of perception. Thinking of how he had mistreated her for years, he felt ashamed. He went out to the outer quarters and hesitated before seeing the Lord. The Lord said, "How does your wife's face look now?" Sebaek bowed to the ground and answered, "I, your son, know my sin of ignorance." The Lord said again, "A person's glory, disgrace, fortune, and misfortune are determined by heaven. If you think about the past, with what face can you meet your wife? How could your perception be so lacking, and by ruining a great matter like this, have you not brought disaster upon yourself?" Sebaek felt even more terrified and remained silent. As the day already grew dark, Sebaek went into Lady Park's room. Lady Park had lit the candles, composed her face, and was sitting there. Sebaek dared not approach and waited for Lady Park to speak first, but she remained completely silent. Sebaek blamed himself, saying, "The lady acting this way is the result of my mistreating her for years." He could not stop lamenting. However, Lady Park acted as if she neither saw nor heard him, and there was no conversation between husband and wife. Sebaek, having no other choice, sat beneath the candlelight. When the morning rooster crowed, he went out to the outer quarters, greeted his parents, and spent the entire day unable to calm his mind. As the day drew to a close again, he went back into Lady Park's room, but her solemnity only grew deeper. Sebaek sat like a sinner, waiting for his wife to speak, but before he knew it, dawn was breaking. Unable to think of anything else, he stepped out again, filled with nothing but regret. Meanwhile, Lady Park acted this way for several days. Sebaek naturally fell ill and stopped eating and drinking. Sitting alone, he thought, "I used to consider my wife a monster and harbored resentment in my heart. Now that she has become a beauty, if we cannot communicate, I will become sick to the bone. First, it is my fault for having no perception, and second, my situation is pitiful." He calmed his mind, gathered his resolve, and decided to go back in and try to speak with her. He entered Pihwadang, endlessly confessed his sins, and said, The night grows deeper, and our tale gently pauses here. As Lady Park's true beauty and wisdom are finally revealed, may your own dreams tonight be just as magical and serene. Rest well, traveler of ancient tales. If this story brought you peace, please leave a gentle whisper in the comments and subscribe for more nights of quiet wanderings. Good night and sleep well.